What if 300 digital nomads bought an abandoned hotel in the mountains and tried to build their dream community from scratch? Imagine co-working spaces, chill-out lounges, an auditorium, a restaurant, a grocery store, communal kitchens
where about 150 people can cook at the same time.
150 people can cook at the same time? What? And since I'm searching for a home myself, I packed my bags, flew to Sofia and drove into the middle of nowhere to meet the visionary behind what might become the world's biggest co-living project. The first thing I noticed is that they officially changed the street name to Nomad Place 1, which is pretty cool. We got out of the car and met Mathias, a pretty well-known guy in the Nomad community.
I have heard about what Mathias have done.
What has he done?
Like, he created literally from zero the co-working spaces in Bansko. Now Bansko became like a hub, a really great hub for nomads.
He was the one who built Coworking Bansko and the Nomad Fest. So yeah, he has a successful track record of doing these kinds of community projects, but this is on an entirely different scale. This could either go amazingly well and become the next big thing, or end up as an isolated, half-empty ghost house in the middle of nowhere. Let's look at it from the top. There are 3 blocks. A and B are the apartments, and Block C has all the shared co-living facilities. For the cheapest apartments, you'll be paying around 23,000 euros, plus about 10k for renovation and another 5k for furniture, an AC, and some extra fees, bringing the total to around 38 or let's say 40,000 euros. If you want a kitchen, more space, a balcony, or a better view, the prices goes up. The unique thing is that while Mathias is the founder and the manager of the project right now, this does not always have to be the case.
If you buy an apartment, the apartment is your private property. Like wherever you buy an apartment, you get a notarial deed, it's your property. But then these co-living areas, they are owned by the cooperative. And the cooperative consists of all the owners of the apartments. It's a separate legal entity, and the owners are basically the members of this legal entity. So I'm only like the chairman of this cooperative, but I've been voted in, which means I can also be voted out. And the cooperative has also hired a few people, so it's like a company basically. And on important decisions, the owners vote. So there's some decisions that the management team is making, but there's also decisions that the owners are making. For example, one decision that we're currently revisiting is should we really be adults only? So our concept is we want to be distraction-free, meaning we don't want to have kids running around. Which I think is okay, but also some owners have kids already or want to make more. And they are wondering, should we open this up for kids as well? And at the moment we have said no, but the owners vote on decisions like this.
And the vote is coming up?
The vote is coming up, but it's probably, yes, we will stay adult only for a while.
And how does the voting or the governance work? Is it digital?
Yes, it's digital. We use a platform. Everyone has one vote. And we normally have 7 days for a vote. We discuss online and then we vote, and then everyone is saying yes or no.
Okay. And everyone has one vote, no matter if they bought a more expensive one or if they bought 3 apartments?
Yes, everyone has one vote. But of course, when it comes to distributing dividends, it's based on the amount of square meters that somebody bought. So if you have bought bigger or more, then later you get more dividends, but you only have one vote. Because we believe that even if you're rich, your ideas might not be better than the poor ideas. So every person has one vote.
Being part of the co-op means 3 things. Firstly, you will get to vote on important decisions. Secondly, you can vote who will be the next chairman or chairwoman. And thirdly, you get dividends if the co-op makes a profit.
A lot of our owners, like the 80% of the nomads, they will here be only between 1 and 3 months, I guess. Which means the rest of the time we rent it out to guests. And this means there's more income from guests. So the building, we could not operate this if this would be residential and we just want to do this with the owners. It would be too expensive, but the guests will pay for it. And this will help us to operate it. So for the studios that we saw, like the 30 square meter studio, next year will be about 1,000 euros per month.
And the owners, how much would they get?
About half of it.
Okay.
And when you look at this, so after renovation and furnishing, this studio costs like 50,000 euros. your rental income is about 500 per month. This is actually a pretty good yield.
If you choose to rent out your apartment, you can expect that at the start they are thinking it will be around 500 euros per month for the smaller units. And then after 1 or 2 years, the price will go to 1,000 euros per month, which I think is pretty realistic and reasonable. The co-living spaces that I've been to in Portugal and Spain, they were charging around 1,000 euros per month. Then you have the real estate appreciation of the apartment itself, and then the dividends that we talked about if the co-op makes a profit. And lastly, you have the value of personal use. If you as an owner actually decide to live in your apartment, then you can use the co-working space, the gym, the sauna, the pool.
So the owner has a free use of the co-living area. For each apartment you can nominate one owner that has free use, and then the guests have to pay a usage fee of Block C. But of course you can bring your guests into your apartment, and if you don't come here, then it's your apartment.
And how is it like for them if they buy it as a couple?
One of them will have to pay.
One of them has to pay to go to the co-op. And how much is that per month?
We haven't set the pricing yet, but it will be cheaper than for guests, right? So there will be also like a long-term rate for owners.
You also have, the ability to have your personal tax residency there, or your address there. It's pretty sweet. You have 10% flat income tax in Bulgaria, and you can receive mail and packages while you're gone. Packages might be sometimes hard with IKEA, for example. They don't deliver there because it is quite a remote location, but Amazon does deliver. So let's look at the actual apartments sales page, because of the 220 apartments, most of them are already sold. Here we can see all of the red ones are sold, and you can always see the videos. As you can see, we have the bathroom, we have one window here. And when I was in here, I felt like it was quite small and dark. But then when I went to the renovated ones, because, painting the walls and putting a floor in, suddenly the light from the window bounces way more and makes the whole space much more bright and inviting.
This one is a little bit bigger.
So initially I thought like, oh no, I can't do this. But then when I saw the renovated ones, I was quite impressed.
Wunderbar, baby, you're so wunderbar. When you hold my hand, I start to melt. Wunderbar, oh baby, you're so wunderbar. When you hold my hand, I start to melt.
This is one of the views here on the balcony.
But if we pretend to be lovers till the end, 'cause see.
Let's look at where Semkovo is and how do you actually get there. Easiest would be to fly to Sofia, that's what I did, and then take a car to Semkovo, which is right down here in between the Rila Mountains and the Pirin Mountains. They will also have a shuttle service that brings guests and owners. They said once a week, but I'm not entirely sure about that, but it'll probably be something like once a week. It takes you 2 hours and 50 minutes to get to Semkovo from Sofia Center. That's like 2 hours 40, 2 hours 30, depending on traffic. And now let's see from Semkovo to Bansko, or from Bansko to Semkovo, it's 50 minutes. And Bansko is really the biggest and best ski resort in Bulgaria. Now we are here in Bansko testing out how good the ski resort is. I'm here with a snowboard, heading to the top. Woo! The lifts in Bansko are good, but I was queuing for a long time in the morning waiting for the first lift to take me up. And from reading the Google Maps reviews, this seems to be a common problem. And with a day pass costing around 55 euros and a pizza margarita, to my surprise, 19 euros, you're nearly paying Alps prices without getting quite the same experience, infrastructure, and scale. There are lifts right in Semkovo, but only 5, and all of them are T-bar lifts. So it's not really what you want if you really want to go skiing or snowboarding for a full day on.
The municipality of Belice, they want to build a chairlift. It also starts like when you came from the road, there's this big parking lot. They want to build a chairlift from that parking lot to Semkovo hut, which is about 3 kilometers, and this would expand the whole ski area significantly. But even with what they have now, I think it's interesting because we talked with them. So if we give them a little bit of money, they would be willing to install lights for night skiing. They will help us building like ramps and jumps and rails for snowboarding. You can go cross country here. There are some people with snowmobiles that take you further up the mountain and then you can come down off-piste. So I think there's a lot of fun here. And of course, mountain biking, hiking.
So I look forward to doing a fair bit of hiking and nature photography in autumn. And I expect there to be a lot of people here in summer. So yeah, it's probably going to be a very lively place in summer. So,
And you're a full-time painter? Is that your
main... No, I'm a translator. But painting is something I do on the side.
And you do that remotely, the translation?
Yes. Yes.
We bought the apartment for about 31,000 euro, and with renovation and furnishing, it should be around 50,000. Yeah, and I think in another 3 months or so, we should be able to move in. Most people here are digital nomads, and you get to meet interesting people, pick up interesting skills, and just the laid-back nature of it was really nice to us. Yeah.
A fabulous community that you would get, and with a very progressive mentality. That's quite important. It is not just a place you could live, but you could work and find a community, a progressive community that you can just cherish and learn a lot. So that was very important for us, and we found that everything up in the mountains where you can also have your adventure sports and basically live the life that you want. It's not just your 9-to-5 job, but you have the job with a life that you want to explore. Yeah. So that's something, a plus point. For example, I don't know skiing. They immediately form a community to help each other grow. So this is something that you don't find always everywhere.
And also the neurodiversity. Like there are some people like who lived in a van for a while, and there's some people who come from different backgrounds, somebody artistic. So this combination, I think, is the key here.
I'm just coming off from a call from somebody who wants to do a big music festival here in the summer with 1,300 people coming and 20 DJs and many stages. And of course, this is only possible if you have an area that is big enough to make big things happen. If you are like in a city or in a town, you always have to also consider what the neighbors are doing. But here we have our own Nomad Utopia, basically.
So I'm still really on the fence about whether I should buy an apartment or not. Because like it's really cool. It's a really cool project. There's not many or no other project like this. Normally in a co-living space you have to rent. Here you can buy yourself into a co-living space, and it's not really a co-living space. It's a mini village, right? It's like the scale of this is just on another level. Now, some challenges I see is, one, can they actually get people there? Like, can they reach the 80% occupancy rate that they're aiming for? And that really depends whether or not they can create the vibe. Like, they have the space, but can they create the vibe, the energy, that it becomes a cool space, that it becomes a place where people want to go to? And so it's really like a marketing people challenge that I see. And the second thing to think about is that because of this democratic governance and the co-op, let's say in 5-10 years from now, all of these owners get older and want to turn this into a family resort and bring their kids and close the co-working spaces and turn them into something else. Those things can happen, and that's something to be aware of. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and see you in the next.